Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Happy Monday. It's been a month. It's been almost a whole month since I have sat down and recorded one of these ghost stories. Now let me tell you why. First of all, can I just say, I had a lot of people ask me throughout the whole time, like, what's happened? What's happened? Please just go to my YouTube community tab. If I haven't posted on a Monday a ghost story video, it will be there as to why, when it's coming back, etc, etc. I've mentioned it plenty of times on my socials, so if you ever think to ask me what's happening, I have more than likely posted about it on the YouTube community tab. Saying that also, it's fine that let me just explain. It's fine that you miss these videos. I miss making them too. But as I've explained to a lot of you a lot of the time, and as you know, this isn't the main priority of my channel. My makeup videos are. They're the ones with the most views. These ghost story views don't really get that many views in comparison to my other videos. So to spend an hour or an hour and a half making one of these videos isn't good use of my time when I'm busy. That's why they're every other week. So, what I don't appreciate is people saying things. I had a comment, for example, no ghost stories, unsubscribing. Good. Fuck off. If you're gonna leave comments like that, then don't care. Literally go away. I don't want you consuming my content. The content I put out, including this, is free for you to watch. You don't pay any money for it. It is backed up for years and years and years. You have years worth of videos. I am not your customer service for my channel. I don't take complaints. I don't take criticism on when I should be filming and when I shouldn't. So saying that, why I haven't, for those of you who know, I went away for 2 weeks, ran over. I went away for 2 weeks and it was my goal within the 2 weeks before I went away to record 4 of these videos. So I would have content for when I came back, content while I was out on vacation, like I do with all my other videos. So I had all my regular content done, all my makeup content was done and ready to go for the next 3 weeks while I was away. Didn't have to think of anything at all. So then the 2 weeks before was my time to record the ghost story videos and edit them. Annoyingly, I got COVID the first week that I was meant to record these videos. Now, let me tell you, I have never experienced being sick like that. It was so annoying. I couldn't sleep because laying down hurt. There was so much pressure on the back of my head. It was horrendous. And it took me about a week and a half to actually get better and test negative. I'm still extremely nasally from it. I don't know why. It's super annoying, but I literally couldn't do anything. I sat down in my office and tried to work and I could not. I physically didn't have the energy. And that was the worst part of having it for me. It was not being able to do anything constructive. I constantly like to work. I like to do something all the time. Downtime for me is something in my head where I'm like, I need to do something. So that's why it has been a month. When I got back, I had so many things to do. And again, this is my full-time job now. YouTube is my full-time job. Something that doesn't really make me money, as terrible as it sounds, but I love doing this, isn't my first priority over things that are taking up a lot of my time. So saying that, we're back on track again, but do bear in mind that these videos, as much as I love doing them, as much as you love consuming them, as much as I love the small group of people that consume these videos, they do take a backseat when it comes to other priorities in life and everything like that. In my this is going on for ages, but I just want to say, in my normal life, I have to prioritize work over other things. However, I don't prioritize filming a ghost story video over other things. Yes. Okay. So as you can see, I'm cheating today. I already have my eyes done because I'm recording a Nimya palette review, which I think will be up before you see this anyway. Having a great time. So I'm doing my skin for you today. But you know, it's not about the makeup anyway, it is about the ghost story. So if you have a ghost story, go ahead and send it right here to this email address. I no longer look at the ghost story emails. That's done by Ashton, who you all may be familiar with from our joint channel. My friend, my assistant, who will look through them and give me the stories. If I go through that email, I will see a catchy title and I'll read it and it will ruin the experience. I love to read them and be just as like shocked and see it for the first time, hear it for the first time, just like you are. You can send me voice emails, video emails, whatever platform. type or file you want to do, that is absolutely more than welcome. Okay, let's just get straight into it because it's been forever. I'm going to be really rusty. Okay, so our first story today is called The Shrouded Woman. It says, "Hi Robert, I love your channel. Thank you for your exceptional content." Thank you. "When I was about 12 years old, my friend had a sleepover for her birthday party. I miss those days. There were probably about 6 girls in attendance. My friend's house was next to a cemetery, but she never talked about having paranormal experiences. On this particular night, we haphazardly arranged our sleeping bags on the floor of her living room when we were finally deciding to go to sleep. I suddenly had a strange feeling. I opened my eyes, and standing near my feet, I could see a figure. The figure was facing my friend to my left, so I could see its profile. It appeared to be an average-sized woman, standing slightly hunched over. She was shrouded in drab grey layers from my perspective. I couldn't see her face as her hair or a scarf hung down, completely covering her face's profile. She held one hand in front of her. I looked in terror at her fingers. Her fingers were unnaturally long. I couldn't see exactly where they were touching, but I could see them extending from a hand that was about chest height down to the floor. She was moving her fingers as if she were gently petting a cat. I said, "What do you want?" The woman began to turn towards me, but a split second later my friend turned on the light in the room and I couldn't see the woman anymore. Before I could say anything, my friend said, "I felt somebody touching my head." As she said this, she moved her fingers in the exact same way the woman had been to demonstrate the touch she felt on her forehead. I told her I saw a woman with exceedingly long fingers moving them in that same motion. We were freaked out that our experiences matched up. My friend was worried that the other girls would get too scared and it would ruin her party, so she asked if I would pretend like we were just pranking the other girls with a story. I agreed, and we didn't experience anything else for the rest of the night. I wonder what would have happened if I would have seen the woman's face, or if she would have responded to my question. Why is bad posture so spooky? To be fair, if somebody saw me sitting in a chair at night, they would see this. This is me thinking I'm sitting up straight. Thank you so much for your story. I love a good sleepover story because it's like no one believes you because you're a child. But then when you still remember it when you're an adult, perfect. Thank you so much for your story. Greatly appreciate it. We have another one, of course, and this is called The Soldier in the Hallway. That was the House Foundation, by the way. I love this stuff. Okay, it says, "Hi Robert, I hope this email finds you well. I love your videos and just couldn't resist sharing this story with you." Thank you so much. "I grew up in a little home in northern Canada, and needless to say, this house was haunted AF. That means as fuck. All sorts of strange things happened over nearly 10 years we lived there, but I just want to share the scariest one with you. For context, I was 8 years old at this time. My bedroom was at the end of our hallway. I could never sleep if my door was closed, so it was always open, and I was able to see all the way down the hallway and into my living room from my bed. This was the way I liked it. I would get terrible nightmares if I couldn't keep an eye on the entire house. One night, I was having trouble sleeping. I was lying in bed with my door wide open, and I was facing my wall. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something behind me watching me. I rolled over, and at the end of my hallway was a man. Plain as day, he was standing there wearing large, heavy boots and a soldier's uniform. I could see every detail of this man, but I could also see straight through him. I still remember his face and his scraggly hair. I froze in my bed, and we stared at each other for what felt like forever. Then he started to walk towards me. I hid my face under my blankets and held him as tight down around me as possible. I could hear the sound of his heavy boots on the linoleum floor in the hallway, slow and heavy, and getting louder. I could hear the sound change when his boots hit the carpet of my very small room. He was then standing directly beside my bed, next to my face, and I could hear him breathing. The breathing lasted for several minutes, and I was so scared to move or scream or breathe. Eventually, the breathing stopped, but I didn't pull my head out of the sheets for several hours. I never saw him again. But whenever something strange happened in our house after that, and strange things often would happen, I knew it was him. It wasn't until over 10 years later I decided to talk to my dad about the strange things that would happen in that house. We had long since moved away, and I was a little embarrassed to bring up the subject with my dad because he is very straightforward, no bullshit type of man who I thought would dismiss these events as fantasy. But my father simply responded with, "Oh yeah, that house was haunted. Unexplained things would always happen. One night, I woke up to a man standing next to my bed." I hope this was a fun story. Fun for who? It cost me weeks of sleep as a child. Of course. It was a fun story. Thank you. Not so much for you, though. But that was absolute perfection. Thank you so much for sending that in. Next up, we have an audio story. Audio stories are always welcome because I get to finish up my makeup a little bit. Not a little bit, the whole thing.
Hi, Robert. I have been watching your videos for many years, and I am actually a makeup artist that is an educator in the makeup artistry field myself, training aspiring makeup artists to work in film and editorial. So I wanted to share a story that happened to me back in college many years ago, and it's probably the scariest of many spiritual encounters that I've had. So I was in my early 20s, and I live in the States. I live in New Mexico, and I was going to college, and I had several stories from my roommate that she had encountered this presence, this feeling in our apartment. And she had said many times that this presence was very male, was very dominating, and never bothered her when her male roommate was there. And but when she was there by herself, there was a situation where she was in the bathtub and she heard somebody come in the front door. This thing always came in the front door, and she heard the front door shut, and so she called out that she was in the bathtub and she was home, and nobody answered. And I was living there temporarily at the time because we were all going to be renting a big house within a month. So I was living there temporarily. And she had called out saying that she was in the bathtub, and she heard this thing walking up and down the hallway of this small apartment, and it wouldn't answer her. And so she finally got frustrated after calling out several times, and she threw on a towel and she walked out. And she said the front door was locked, and the stereo that was on was flipping through stations, and the TV was now on static. And there were many situations similar to that just kind of scared her. And so she actually started staying with her boyfriend because she didn't want to stay in the apartment anymore. Well, fast forward, and I am working at a restaurant as a server, and I'm closing, and we are all to meet at a party, college party, and typical college lifestyle. And so we were going to be meeting at a party after, and I said I would be there as soon as I got off work. And so I got off work, went home to this apartment, and was in the bathroom kind of getting myself refreshed and ready for the party. And my hair at the time was cut really short. It was above my shoulders, right below my ears, and kind of a little bob cut. And I'm standing in the mirror, the bathroom was really small, and I'm standing in the mirror doing my hair, fixing my makeup, getting ready to go to this party. And directly in the mirror, you can see directly behind you into the hallway. And again, I heard the front door shut as normal with this thing, and something come in, shut the door to the apartment. And I leaned back and looked down the hallway and said, "Hey, I'm in here, hey," what, saying hi to, whomever was coming into the apartment, one of my roommates. And there was nothing there. And so I was like, okay, that's weird. Must have been an upstairs neighbor or something, downstairs neighbor. And then I heard walking up and down the hallway directly behind me. And I was like, well, I can see into the hallway and there's nothing there. But I hear footsteps like in the hallway. So I looked down the hallway and there was nothing there. And I heard just activity in the apartment, and I was kind of getting freaked out a little bit. And I had known of these previous stories from my roommate telling me. And so I was like, this is weird. So I walked into her bedroom where I was sleeping at the time because she was staying with her boyfriend, and turned on the light. There's nobody there. Walked into my other roommate's room, turned on the light. There was nobody there. And so I was like, okay, whatever. So I wrapped up what I was doing and I walked into the kitchen. And if you're facing the counter of the kitchen, your back is facing the living room and the rest of the apartment. And for some reason, I remember this clear as day. I was standing at the counter, and for some odd reason, at 11:30 at night, I was pouring me a glass of orange juice. Well, all of a sudden, I felt my body be shoved up against the counter. And I couldn't move. And I was standing there like there's something forcing me and my stomach against the counter. And I put down the orange juice and I stood there frozen. And I tried to slide to the right. Well, first I turned my head to the left really quick to see who was behind me. And I felt this pressure on my chin turn me back to the counter to look straight down towards my orange juice. And so I quickly turned to the right. And again, I felt a pressure on my lower jaw, like there was a hand turning me back to face the counter and my orange juice. And I was frozen. I was absolutely beyond terrified. And all of a sudden, I start feeling this breath breathing against the back of my neck. My hair again was really short. And I felt this like warm breath hitting my neck, and it scared the living shit out of me. And I pressed my body up against the counter and I sidestepped to the right and continued to face the counter, kept my back to it the entire time, walked around the kitchen, grabbed my purse, grabbed my keys, left all the lights on, and I left. I didn't even lock the door to the apartment. And at the time we were on a second floor apartment, and I remember shutting the door and running down a flight of stairs and looking back towards the apartment to think like, okay, if there's something or somebody in this apartment, they will come out now because I'm not in the apartment, and nothing was there. And then I thought to myself, what the hell am I thinking? Just get out of here. And so, I ran down the second flight of stairs and got in my car and went to the party. But it was probably one of the most terrifying moments. And from then on, I slept at a friend's house and didn't stay in the apartment by myself at all. I would be there during the day and have the blinds open and music playing and, windows open, and try to make it as bright and airy as I could. But this was obviously a very dominant male presence that didn't want us in that apartment. We soon later moved out and we rented our house and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to share that story with you. One of the most terrifying moments of my life. I've had a couple more encounters that I may include later, but I just wanted to share that with you. Keep up with the amazing videos and making people happy. You're an amazing makeup artist and very inspiring. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know how. I just don't know how you ever went back to that place. I couldn't do it after being like physically touched, and not in like a nice way. Well, how, you know, how does a ghost touch in a nice way? But in like a very violent, dominating way. I don't know how you did it. There's something about people's like college houses that are just always haunted. I forgot to have my candles on. Thank you so much for sending that in. Thank you so much for telling us your experience so nicely as well. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay. Okay, next up we have a story called Shadow Figure Caught on Video at 3 a.m. And it's just a little video alongside. It says, "Hello Robert, I absolutely love your videos and always look forward to watching on Monday." Sorry. A little backstory. My parents' bedroom is right above the garage. And one night, both of our dogs woke up and stood guard at the edge of the bed. Both my parents get a notification on their phones. So my dad looked and saw an orb and a shadow figure. I'm guessing this is on like a camera. A good majority of the day, their bedroom and the garage just gave off a very uncomfortable vibe. My mother is half thinking the shadow figure is that of my great-grandfather, who had passed away before I was born. It looks like it's wearing a fedora and has a specific type of walk to it, almost mob in a sense. Mob? I'm curious to know what you and everyone else thinks. Oh, that is so strange. It does look human in a way. Oh, I've got goosebumps. Oh, you know what though? I wish family members wouldn't come back so fucking creepy. I'm going to stand outside your house in a hat and make your cameras go off. Like, do something, like drop a feather from the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, you know. Okay, let's finish up today by taking a look at some TikToks, which you can tag me in at I don't know what it is, up on the screen. Robert Welsh, I can't remember. I know some people aren't, I always say this, aren't really into TikTok, but if you get TikTok and get on like the paranormal side, you're in for a good time. So, this happened tonight while Jamie was putting Loki to bed. There was nothing there. No, I'm sorry. Children waving at things and then just no. I'm more creeped out by the child than the ghost. As soon as a child starts drawing a person, and they're like, "Ooh, this is a person I saw out my window," move house. It starts off with kitchen appliances, not appliances, tools and things like that. Then you have like paintings flying around your house of like people who owned the house. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. Again, apologies to those of you who are kind about me missing these ghost story videos. We're back on track now. So thank you so much again. Like I said, you can send your ghost stories here to this email address. I always leave it down below in the description box, so you can copy and paste it into your thing, because I can't remember if it's ghosts or ghost, and I can't remember. Anyway, thanks again, and I will see you very soon. Bye.